Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games and craft beer. We discuss and chat several choice video games whilst sampling some beers. I'm Ben, I'm here with Aadil.
Hey.
And we're here with Lucy.
Hello.
How are you, Lucy? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Excellent.
I need beer though. Been waiting for you too.
I'm good as well, Ben. Thanks for asking.
Excellent, thank you, yes. We will launch straight into some beers, I suppose. What are you going to drink first, Lucy?
I am going to drink a Cloudwater brew. So,
Ooh, nice.
It's Sorachi Ace Grissette. I've had this one for a few weeks. Been saving it especially for this podcast.
Nice.
Sorachi Ace hops you don't usually find, so I just thought, yep, that looks good. Gonna have that one as my first one.
Excellent. What kind of, is it an IPA? Is it a pale?
I'd assume it's, what's a Grissette?
Silence.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I know what a
I think
gusset
that's a
is, but it's
question
not for
for-
polite
Because
talk.
sometimes the Cloudwater beers are a little vague on the style of them, but
Yeah, I mean, this is this for spring, summer. Okay, Grissette
Yeah.
is a common edible woodland mushroom. So it's not a mushroom, but I don't know what it is. I assume it's something like an IPA. I mean,
Yeah, okay.
I'll taste it and see. It's a mystery for now, so that will be interesting.
nice, cool. Well, we are going to start up on. It's a topical beer because it's going to link in very slightly with a game that Aadil's been playing. It is. Is it even called or is it just called Trooper?
It's the Iron Maiden Trooper beer, handcrafted by Robinson's Brewery. It is, it is a premium British British beer. This is not so good for me before drinking, losing my ability to say simple words like British.
Yeah.
We scoured the label, and by that I don't mean we cleaned it. We looked intently for sort of some indication to what kind of beer, and the only thing we got was it's premium and British. But it is, in fact, the Iron Maiden branded, I guess.
Yeah, it's got Eddie on the front.
Yeah, Eddie the Trooper, Mr. Skeleton.
Yeah.
On the front. So I saw that in the Sainsbury's and thought, what the balls? And then I remembered we have a beer podcast, and I said, oh, awesome. And I purchased it. And then forgot it and had to go to Morrison's and buy
another one.
And so now I have another bottle of this at home to look forward to, which I'm sure is going to be delicious.
It's dependent on how this is. How's yours, Lucy?
Oh, sorry, I've just been researching what a Grissette is. I haven't even opened it yet. I have found that a Grissette is a Belgian-style Saison.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like Saison is like a catch-all.
Yeah, almost. It's just seasonal.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. I know Cloudwater. They don't really do any standard beers all through the year.
Yeah.
All of their stuff is seasonal anyway.
Yeah.
I've been trying to look for like the double IPA for ages, and apparently like they got something in stock like this week or something. But really hard to track down.
The version. The version 6 and 7 of the Cloudwater Double IPA are releasing this week.
Yeah,
but they are made from a different combination of the versions 4 and versions 5.
Right.
They came out a couple of months ago, and they took a load of feedback.
What, good
on
feedback?
Feedback on what people liked, whether they wanted just the version 4, whether they wanted a combination of the two, different consistencies of the two beers. And then version 6 and version 7 are what has come out of that feedback, basically. It's really limited run. I think they're only making something like 480 bottles.
Is that
wow.
it? I could drink that by myself.
It's it's going to be quite hard to get hold of, I think.
Yeah, not surprised.
What do you think it smells like there, Ben?
The Trooper, or just, I keep calling it the. It seems like it should have the in front. It's just called Trooper. Smells like a standard British ale.
Hold on a second. No, I think you'll find it smells like a premium British beer. It's a touch nutty, but wow, yeah, you're right. It just sort of smells beer.
It's sort of that standard sort of golden, slightly
Golden honey.
Yeah, slightly honey kind of colour. It's quite similar to something like a gem.
Oh, except so much plainer.
Not quite as bitter. The flavour isn't quite there.
It's oddly not watery, but it tastes so flat. Which is funny because it's actually probably got more carbonation than your average British beer.
Completely.
But there's just nothing going on in my mouth that's different from one moment to another.
No, the four and the finish,
the
they're all the same.
Oh god, I'm terrible. Yeah, I had a inappropriate reference to pop in my head.
Enjoying it?
Oh dear.
Like a junior high school blowjob.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Are you
dear.
enjoying it though? Is it? No, the beer that is.
I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's just okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh well. How about yours, Luce? I see it's very light in colour.
Yeah, it's straw coloured, bit cloudy, nice large bubbly head, quite carbonated. Because I don't know if you have had Sorachi Ace hops before. I've seen.
I don't think so, but maybe.
Don't think so? Well, it's a Japanese hop. I think they're dual purpose, and the thing is that they're done in really limited quantity, so you don't usually find many beers with them. But they have this distinct like lemongrass and dill taste to them, which I think is probably an acquired taste, but I actually quite like it. But you know, the smell you'd probably associate it to like citra hops, like like you know, bit orangey, bit citrusy. This one, I mean, I think I've had beers with Sorachi hops before, and you know they've just had more of a they're just more effervescent, and they're more, they blow you away a lot much more. And this one, it's nice. I mean, it's very clean, it's very sharp, and it's fresh and slightly tart. But considering it's got the Sorachi Ace hops, which are they're quite flavourful and quite distinct, it's a bit underwhelming. But even so, as a beer, it's really nice. I just wouldn't be able to tell if it had Sorachi Ace hops as opposed to like citra hops in it. So, but it's nice. It's
nothing distinctive as such about the Sorachi Ace that jumps
just
out.
Sort of understated in that character.
Yeah. But otherwise, it's a really nice beer.
Nice.
It's 3.6, so it's like a nice summer beer.
4.7.
Ours is 4.7. Not that I think the alcohol percentage or anything about this makes any kind of difference to what it would taste like.
No, but I'm gonna have to read the
it does say
text.
it does say Bruce Dickinson at least once on there as well.
Yeah,
so
I just realized that of all the beers, if there was flavor text to be read, it probably should be this one. Onward, onward, rode the 600. The charge of the Light Brigade, which inspired the Iron Maiden song, The Trooper, took place at the Battle of Balaclava, 1854, during the Crimean War, when 600 British cavalry courageously charged the massed Russian artillery. This gallant but foolhardy assault resulted in a massive loss of life and came about due to a misunderstanding of an order given by the commanding officer, Lord Raglan. Trooper is a premium British beer inspired by Iron Maiden and handcrafted by Robinson's Brewery.
Yeah, it's enough. It's enough.
Being a real ale enthusiast, vocalist Bruce Dickinson, ... You said it, I had to get that.
I had to have Bruce Dickinson on there somewhere.
So that was your random historical lesson for the day.
Nice. Something
Also,
about
never buy this beer.
There are definitely better beers about probably around the same price point.
Yeah, I think it was £1.65.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, maybe there aren't.
Or
Right.
really.
Let's kick into games for the week. As we're drinking this Trooper Iron Maiden inspired beer, Aadil, you've got a game which kind of links,
Yeah.
franchise-wise.
Yeah, it is the mobile game called... Sorry, I just want to make sure again. Legacy. Iron Maiden Legacy, which is a sort of RPG about Eddie the Trooper.
Yeah.
And it's one of those hero collector games, but with more of a plot. So like it really is about cranking through the worlds, and as you do things, you unlock more and more powerful themed Eddies, as well as random things like one of the guys I unlocked was a pair of dice, which were combat way. And so their like special move is doing a random number of damage to each and every person, enemy. So it could be really powerful on all of them, or it could be just an alright move.
Yeah.
But basically, standard, just like the Marvel and Star Wars and etc., you have to level up their special moves and level them up using things you get as drops, and you could pay money to get treasure chests which give you the drops instead of actually playing. But the plot is actually reasonable. The idea is you're Eddie, you wake up and you're getting attacked, you don't know what's going on, and then this mysterious woman sorcerer comes along and tells you that your soul has been taken by some mysterious force, and it's been cut up into a bunch of pieces, and these pieces have been given to weird monsters, and that makes them super powerful. So you're a super weak Eddie, and then you fight guys who have parts of your soul to get your soul back, and it's a good way of sort of explaining power level creep, which is something these games often don't do a good job of, because the whole point is like, this guy just has a bigger piece of your soul, and you're getting more powerful because you have your more of your soul, and you suck balls at the beginning because there's no soul. And I've only played like 2 worlds, but I think plot-wise, it's the most satisfying of these types of games I've ever played.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a great little commute game, mostly because, I still poke at the Star Wars one and Marvel one, but now it's just sort of a poke because you're bored, so you can unlock. I'm not going to make this hero 7 stars instead of 6, but you don't actually give a shit about doing anything. And like the PvP in the Marvel one is too rudimentary for me to care anymore. So it's a given that they've just made the plot longer, it makes me want to play it more. Though again, I've played it the least of the 3.
I assume with this that it's splashed with metal. Tracks all the way through.
Yeah, it's Iron Maiden, and there's Iron Maiden jokes for the mega fans in there that I don't know well enough, but there's references apparently all throughout, and of course the soundtrack, even on the menu, is blaring guitar, proper Iron Maiden.
Is it? I was going to say, is it all licensed? Do they have licensed Iron Maiden tracks? And I was like, yeah.
Have you put any money into it? And do you think it's
no.
No, nothing. Do you think that's hindering your progress, or?
In this game so far, no. I think that's probably the biggest problem with the Marvel game, which has more things to do, but that just means there's more treadmills. And so I enjoy it more than the Star Wars game as far as gameplay, but I just hit a point where, like, one of the reasons why the PvP, which is sort of bots controlling other people's teams, one of the reasons why I just think it's boring is because I just plateaued for a long time, because getting the free level unlocks to build up,
that's the worst,
right? It's just like, well, now I can beat everyone up to this point really easily, and everything after that is just much too hard. In order to level the guys up who are at that level, I have to put all my resources into them for like probably 3 weeks before I can even come to kill the next guy or win battles. And the plot's been done for weeks, and it just, it's just sort of stagnates, because in order to get the crystal unlocks, you have to play a couple, at least one story mission a day, and that story mission is going to be I've played all the story missions, and so I'm just going to use my
repeating themselves.
Use my like little tickets that let me just pretend like I played, because I've 3-starred everything, and then just I get the thing, and it's just like, well, now I'm just telling the computer to fake me playing in a way that's not even like, maybe I'll lose and I can watch it, because it's faking me playing in a way that ensures I won, because I won before all the way. And I just realized I'm just doing that type of move as much as possible.
Yeah, you're just sitting on that treadmill and doing absolutely nothing at all.
And in Star Wars, I hadn't finished all of the different sort of plot lines, like the Cantina ones I haven't done, and I haven't quite finished all the story. And then they introduced a whole mod level.
Yeah.
So there's now mods that go on each of your characters. So now you can actually have a unique character instead of just it was a race to 6 stars or whatever before, and then everyone was the same except for which people in their teams. Right now, it's your emperor can be different from other people's emperors based on the mods and the boosts. And so that gave it a little life in it. But I'm pretty much done. I really only wanted to try this Iron Maiden one because I saw it and was like, really, Iron Maiden? And then I was surprised that it was actually a well-crafted game.
Just not an easy cash-in.
No. But, mobile games. Also, it helps that I have a semblance of internet at home.
Yeah.
Which is still tied to my phone, but now I have a laptop again, and so I can play actual games. And that's pretty much why I've been playing the mobile games for the past few months.
Well, talking about mobile games, I might roll straight into one of the games I've been playing, which is also a mobile game. But you can also pick up on Steam, which is Reigns, which is the game by the developer's gone. I'm going to have to find it. It's published by Devolver Digital.
Is that R-E-I or R-A-I?
R-E-I-G-N-S, right? Yeah. I've heard good things.
It's published by Devolver Digital. The name I'm trying to find the name of the developer as it comes up. I'm sure it will come up soon. Oh no, it didn't because the splash screen didn't start. It went straight into the game. We'll find it later. I'll tell you who the developer is in a little bit. So it's like it's a card-based, almost sort of swiping game.
Sorry to interrupt. The developer is called Nereal.
There you go. Yeah, I knew it began with an N, but that was all I could remember.
Oh yes, I've seen this. Yeah.
So like
I'm really interested
kingdom
about
So you almost manage a kingdom as such. You are the king, and you get a card that jumps up in front of you, a little bit of flavour text that will say, a priest will be on the card in front of you, and it will say, "I'd like to hold a vigil for your late father," and you either say you swipe left for yes or swipe no for right. And based on your decision,
swipe right for no, but that's okay.
All right, is that the way it is?
I don't know. How do you swipe no?
What did I say?
You swipe no for right.
Right.
Sorry.
A point to back that up. Don't have babies. There you go. That's all I'll say about any mistakes that I ever make forever.
Fair enough. Feel free to practice.
Don't
get it right.
And based upon your decision, it will have various outcomes on 4 bars at the top. You've got religion, the populace, the army, and then your treasury. So by saying yes, you want this vigil held for your late father, some money will go down, but the populace will like it, so that bar will go up. And it's all about managing those 4 bars and keeping them half full almost. I found that if you let one of the bars drop too far, then you will die. And that's it. Your king is dead. And it can come in some hilarious different ways. Like if you let religion go down too far, under certain circumstances, it will suggest a pagan mob has run in and destroyed you.
It's kind of like a Game of Thrones move.
Well, yeah. And adversely, I had one which went right up to the top, and I can't remember which one it was. But it went right up to the top and said, "You've done such a wonderful job that you stopped being king and just live out your life all happily, but your reign has ended." So then that stopped that run as such.
So it's basically literally your reign as the king.
It is, but it rolls straight into the next king.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask, because I thought it had some sort of generational thing.
It does, and it has. As you're going through these cards, you encounter different characters and they ask different questions and you do different things. But you might build a barn, for instance, and that then stops your any disease or famine hanging around that might come up as a consequence of one of these choices. It means that your populace doesn't decrease as quickly. And there's various things that will then roll over into the next king.
Right.
So there's various cards that will stick around through the reigns of all of the different kings and stuff. And there's lots of different things to try and hit. So as a new king starts, you'll have 3 things that come up, which would suggest one would say have an heir, or so there's a couple of objectives to be able to hit. And once you've done one and you kick into the next king, that one will disappear and something will take its place. And based upon those, it puts various cards within this deck that you've got as well. So the next card you turn over might be related to one of those objectives.
Gotcha.
So I mean, it's fun. I used to play a lot of Pokemon Go on the evening walks that I've been having, taking Evelyn out just to calm her down. And you know, Pokemon Go is quite nice because it's all about walking around. So as I'm sort of walking the streets at night, it's easy to go and catch some Pokemon. Whereas actually, I've started playing this instead because it's got great flavor text. Right. It's fun. It's written very well, but it's so simple and it's so easy.
And you can presumably just you can just stop and pay attention to the baby. Nothing's wrong, and there's no time element outside of time is presumably only progressing as the card flips.
So there are a couple of cards which may. So if you get something and it's a disease, your population will continuously decline because it's obviously the disease running rampant through your populace. So there are a few time-based.
But is that how does it measure that time?
Through real time.
Okay, so if you take a break, your populace would
so
stop.
I mean, if I don't know because I haven't done it. I was going to say if I turned my screen off and Evelyn needed some attention, I turned my screen off. If I then came back to the game, I'm not sure whether it would have run out or whether it does have a pause state as such when the game isn't running on the phone. I've not experienced that really.
Fair,
but yeah, from what I've played, I mean, I've never had that.
Right.
Have to come up. So, but yeah, I mean, my life is all about games with the ability to pause or play in your own time as such.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's why I was asking about that.
Yeah. So it's really good. You kind of feel with Pokemon Go at least that you're walking around, and when I've then got to Evelyn needs some attention, that you're kind of trying to furiously
finish whatever you're
doing, then put your phone in your pocket, which isn't what I should be doing. I should be just putting my phone straight in my pocket and doing what I need to, assisting her in whatever way she needs. Yeah. Normally, if I'm out on a walk, it's because a dummy's fallen out of her mouth, or she's a little bit cold, so I've got to pull her, pull the sling around her a little bit more.
What you might be interested in, Ben, is have you ever heard of a mobile game called A Dark Room?
No. It's
sort of like a text adventure, and you basically start off with nothing, and then you build supplies like I don't know. You it's all text. It's all text.
Yeah.
Like old school text adventure, and it's like you go to this village, you accrue these supplies, you find these people, and it's like always continually building. So it's sort of I don't know what rain sounds like, but I think you can die in the game, but you wouldn't have the things that you inherited from the last playthrough, which actually sounds like in a roundabout way, Rogue Legacy.
Yes,
yeah.
I was thinking that too, actually.
Yeah, and it as soon as I started it up and churned through a couple of kings, it almost reminded me a little bit of Massive Chalice as well.
Yeah,
just having that continual sort of legacy.
Almost. I'm super a fan of. You said in the wrong order of words. I'm a super fan of. I mean, I'm on record saying I really enjoyed Massive Chalice. And
your favourite Double Fine game, is it not?
It was one of my top games of last year, but it's also I think Ben said it was his favourite Double Fine game. I think it's probably my favourite SRPG, but again, that's less to do with things like Shadowrun or Super and XCOM or Super plot and world building wise, but as far as mechanics and gameplay, I think it's so refreshing to have this sort of this way of dealing with being attached to a team, not being able to be attached to a team in the same way that is just so inherent in the genre.
Yeah.
Not to mention that the plot is neat and the fact that 300 years is actually it's a set.
Yes. Yeah.
There's an actual plot going on and you can't just keep going even though it has this sort of legacy thing. Versus Rogue Legacy, I haven't come close to finishing, but it does feel almost like a treadmill at some point.
I agree.
Well, because Massive Chalice still takes an ass ton of time, but you know that there's an end, and so I think that really helps.
I think in that regard, Reigns is a little bit more like Rogue Legacy because you have or at least I've not scrolled far enough to see if there is a set point in time where it says you have won the game, or you've got you churn through 50 reigns and that's it. You don't have anything left. I don't know if there is any kind of fail state and to be able to start the game again as such, or if you just churn through Kings as long as you want to be able to.
You wonder why no one's investing in science or anything, because nothing ever changes in that respect.
Exactly.
Yeah, it
Right.
sounds really interesting. I saw this the other day, and I was like, typically games like this wouldn't really like appeal to me, but when I was reading about it, I was just like, this seems pretty cool. So I might download that if you
Yeah, I
such
mean,
high
I
praise.
think it released at the start of this week, which was
On
mid.
Android as well?
August the
On
12th,
Android,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah. Yeah, so mid August if you're listening to this in October.
All other months, no, not mid-August, but in October. I thought it was out on mobiles for a while, and that it was just the Steam release that
possibly.
kicked things, but I don't know.
I don't know.
And I think this just might be my bias in that usually random mobile games come to Steam months later because they've done the minimal work needed to make it run on a PC, and they're like, oh look, this is a thing, and then people are like, oh wow, it comes on mobile too, and then there's this spike of interest. And as soon as I found out it was a mobile game, go on.
It says it was updated August 12th, and that's version 1.01, so that looks like it's been on mobile for only a few days, but yeah.
So I think as soon as I saw that it was on mobile, I lost all interest on having it on Steam, and this is from the guy who has too many things on Steam. And
I mean, mechanically it would be exactly the same, and I assume you would just use the directional keys to move left and right and make your choice, or click on the choice. But it's definitely built for mobile.
It's my flatmate is a big user of Tinder.
Oh yeah.
And so when I saw that, I'm like, oh my god, it's like Tinder Kingdom Man.
Yeah, I have read someone else referring to it as sort of Tinder, but
I mean, to be fair to the people who made Tinder, like it's such a simplistic,
simple,
interactive input, but you can accomplish quite a bit. Well, at least on binary choices. Although Tinder apparently has an up direction as well.
what?
Oh.
Apparently you can say yes, no, or super yes.
Super yes.
Super yes. Super like, and then
Look
it
at how
tells the other
desperate
person.
I am.
Tells the other person that you super yesed them.
Oh.
But you have only a limited number of super yeses.
Oh god, that's so creepy.
I know.
Right, let's open up another beer and forget all about.
Drink the Tinder away.
Yes.
It turns out people on Tinder don't like when you call their prospective matches kindling.
It makes so much sense.
I know, right?
Right, we are opening a Wiper and True Kaleidoscope Pale Ale.
I'm really glad you picked up a Wiper and True the week that I brought what I brought. Also, I've realized that since I've come to Bristol, I've brought exactly one beer, and it's that, and I really apologize.
What's the picture on it? Is it the elephant? Is it the balloon? Which one?
It is. It's the elephant standing on
It's a circus elephant.
Yeah, standing on a podium,
Well,
on his front legs, ass in the air.
All
tea
is
kettle,
glory.
not in sight.
No. It is as I said, it's a pale ale. I think it was about 4.4%.
Yep.
Yes.
It's
30 IBUs.
and it's batch 7.
Batch number 7. This is our exploration to the flavours the trio of hops can create. The combinations will change with the seasons, but the intention remains constant to bring you a pale ale that is harmonious, bright, and refreshing. Hopefully. Ooh. It's a beer for a nice sunny day, which kind of today started out as. But
today did not start out as. Today started out, I left the house at around 6:30, and it was gloomy and kind of brisk, and there was all of the clouds. And then they burnt off, and it's been hot all day. But this explains why I am in jeans and a long sleeve button down.
I did wonder about that.
And I had a nice chat with a guy on the bus, being like, who gave me this look. I'm like, it was cold when I left the house. And then he explained how this summer in Bristol is weird, and how there's not been enough rain. And I said, okay, I didn't actually need to interact with you.
Thank you. Thank you for your interaction.
I was
going to say we'll take this in a moment. What's your second beer, Lucy?
It is a Red Doe. Doe is in DOE. Red IPA. from the White Hag. So, yeah, Irish Brewing Company, who have been like taking the world by storm recently with all their nice beers. It's 5.6%. There's a little story. Shall I read it out? Why not?
Yeah.
You have to.
While
I've
out
started
hunting
a
with
thing.
his while out hunting with his hounds, Bran and Scolin, Fionn Mac Cumhile spots a doe, a female deer, who then shapeshifts into a beautiful woman. She stole Fionn's heart for one passionate night. A year on, Fionn discovers a baby in the woods and names him Oisin, the little fawn. It turns out he is Fionn's son, and that of the graceful red doe. There's so many weird Irish Celtic words in this. I can't pronounce them. So we hope you welcome this beer into your family and raise it as your own. So basically, some dear woman had a child, and that was it, really. But yeah.
And they made this beer to commemorate the union.
Yeah, it's weird, but all beers are weird, aren't they?
Yeah. This is why I actually like the flavor text. Hilariously, the like clearly corporate marketing flavor text one was the boring one.
Yeah.
Also, craft beer and flavor text is such a... You led me to believe that this was uncommon because all the Canadian craft beers kept having these paragraphs.
Yeah,
I forgot that White and True don't have like a weird story, but they actually say quite a bit.
Yeah. I just don't generally read them out, I suppose.
Yeah, it's too bad. This is now a thing. This is now one of our staple things.
It is. It is going to have to happen every time.
So what do you think of the nose here?
It's very light. It's got a sweetness to it, but I can't quite.
It has a sweetness, but a little bit of a touch of like a key lime, like a citrus, a light high tart, but then not very
high. That's the word I was looking for. It's odd to describe a smell, but high is almost exactly what came to mind straight away. Like an odd word, but yeah, I mean the nose is nice, but does it taste similarly? Not particularly.
It's actually quite dry.
It is very dry.
I don't actually get any citrus off of it.
No.
Hold on, grapefruit.
No,
nothing.
Nothing. You said grapefruit, and no taste.
That is how little citrus there is in this. Our predilection to grapefruit happening when we hear grapefruit does not kick in. That's really interesting. It's I can't remember last time a White and True had such distinct taste and nose.
That's odd. It's very, very nice, but I cannot pick out what that flavour is. There's a nice bitterness in the end. Mm-hmm. But it's... what is that flavour?
Why don't we ruminate?
Yeah.
Well, this tells us how the deer woman birth is.
Because I've been smelling it. I don't know if you see me just keep smelling it all the time, because I can't put my finger on what smell this is. I would say it's like, I don't know, like a bit caramelly, but it's not as caramelly as you consider like an amber ale or something like that. It's a bit woody, and I honestly can't put my finger on that smell. But yeah, it's a bit hoppy. It's brown in colour, nice off-white head, and it's nice. It's I mean, have you not had many red IPAs? I mean, there's amber ales and stuff like that, but
I've had a few, but they're normally the ones I've had are rye IPAs as well. So you normally get like a red rye IPA, which I assume makes a lot of difference in the flavour compared to just a red IPA.
But yeah, it's like a bit earthy, bit spicy. I'm not sure what to make of that. I just can't put my finger on the smell, but yeah, it's nice.
Does the taste match the smell, or does the?
Not really. The smell is more woody and and earthy, and the taste is more woody and earthy, whereas the smell is more. It's sweeter, but I can't put my finger on what that sweet smell is. It's interesting. But yeah, strange beer, but it is very nice.
Nice.
Very nice.
I still cannot figure what this taste is for this Wiper and True.
I kind of want to say that right in the middle, there's a bit of an orange.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
But it doesn't last long. It's that sort of
It's a hint.
a hint of like generic orange, not very sweet, not very tart, just like orange.
Yes.
And I say that in a way that makes it sound plain, but it's a very tasty beer. I just can't pick tastes out of it.
You've almost got the start as almost kind of grapefruit, but no, but you know what I mean. That just very.
Sorry.
It's kind of like almost not the sweetness of, but just that kind of like flat kind of flavour that you get.
Yeah.
Just almost a very. It's such a difficult beer to describe.
Mm-hmm. I'm still not quite sure where your grapefruit's coming from, but
do you not get that just right at the start? It's just a.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I have no idea if that's because we've said grapefruit like 7 times now and
Grapefruit.
fallen into the trap that we were bragging that we were
Trying not to fall into. Yeah, completely.
It's really tasty. Let's get that straight.
Yeah.
I don't think either of us seem to have wherewithal is the wrong word, but the descriptive capabilities to tell you what about it is tasty.
Sometimes you just can't. Sometimes, like with this one, I mean, I honestly don't know what that smell is. I mean, the more I drink it as well, the less I like it. That might just be frustration from the fact that I can't put my finger on the smell. But
Have you tried putting your nose on the smell?
I can't. I've looked at like rate beer and people saying all sorts of different things. It's like I'm not getting those sensations. Someone said grapefruit. Someone said brown sugar. I'm not getting any of those things. It's just strange. Try it for yourself. I mean, whatever white hag beer you pick up anyway, you're more than likely gonna, like it. So
Okay, nice. Let's jump into games again.
Lucy, you haven't talked about a game.
Well, I think the last game I finished was Abzu,
Yeah.
which Ben, me and you spoke about briefly. I think a lot of people have been judging it based on the quality of Journey, which I understand it, but I think it's a bit unfair because although the people from Giant Squid, the developer who made Abzu, they're alumni from that game company who made Journey, of course. And
same art director, perhaps?
Possibly, I wouldn't be surprised. I just know that the composers, I think the lead on Abzu, the composer of like Journey is the lead on Abzu, but yeah, I think quite a lot of people shifted teams. But, it's not a sequel. It's not the same company. So I understand why people are comparing it to Journey, but I tried to go in with an open mind, and I think my experience was all the better for it. It's a 3D
Are you
adventure
telling me
game.
that having unfounded predisposition to what you want a game to be is not the best approach to things?
Well, that's what gets a lot of developers in a lot of trouble, which I'm sure we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I accidentally did the segue mid.
The segue.
But so it's an action adventure. ... Lucy
Well, not really action, but yeah, it's an explorative, peaceful, tranquil adventure game set underwater. And I mean, I love marine life, so if it had just fish in it, I'd be happy. But it's like
I've got a great screensaver for you.
But it's quite linear. You basically you're going through 7 chapters, and you go to different areas, but you're free to explore each area. So it's like semi-open world, but not strictly in the sense of like say Fallout or something like that.
But so is it similar to go back to Journey in that regard? That Journey, you had a start point and an end point to reach, but it was on a very large sort of rectangular map in which you were able to move all around it and discover loads of different things.
Yeah, precisely. But I think with Abzu, it's a bit more the exploration is encouraged more. Journey,
Yeah.
you're rather strung along more by the story.
Yes.
Which is what people have, been saying about Abzu. They're not fond of the narrative. And people have been calling it like a try-hard game, like trying to evoke emotion and stuff like that. And I can see where they're coming from, and I didn't really... The narrative didn't resonate with me emotionally. Certainly not to the extent that Journey did, but that's fine. That was fine for me. It's like, I didn't need it to be like Journey. We have one of those. Journey's, lightning in a bottle. It'll probably never happen again. So it's like, even from the same company. So I didn't expect it from Abzu, but...
Yeah.
It's been
narrative
remastered, so if you want to play it again, it looks prettier, which is basically the only complaint people have about playing a good game from the past.
Journey.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I played it. I played it on the PS4 because I missed it the first time round. So, but I mean, even knowing the co-op aspect of Journey and knowing the ending, which I won't spoil, it still hit me. But Abzu, not at all. But throughout the whole of Abzu, I had a massive smile on my face because it was like just discovering these new species, these new fish. Based on real life animals, real life species, but just seeing like an orca, and it's like, because you can ride them, and I think you can navigate where they go as well. So once you're on them, you can determine what path they make.
Oh, that's cool. It's not just on rails.
No, and you can breach the water if you want. You can do a flip,
cool.
a little spin or something like that. And it's just like every time a new species would come around. And I think that's like the main hook of the game. You're meant to be returning biodiversity to all these new areas. As soon as like a giant squid or a dolphin, as soon as one of those came onto the screen, it was just you're just in awe and amazement. And it's just one of those games that it doesn't need a story as such, but I can understand why they put that in. But for me, just looking at the fish, which sounds boring, but
I'm
watching
a
them swim by.
rabid scuba diver, and looking at fish is amazing.
Yeah, it makes you want to be a marine biologist or something like that. It's like, because even though they're a bit cartoony, the character models, their animation and the way they
I thought you
look
meant
as
marine
well,
biologists.
No, not marine biologist character models. No, but they're quite lifelike. So it's a testament to like the art direction. And Ben, you might well be right that it might be the
It is the same
person
guy.
who
I
did
looked
the
up.
art in Journey. Is it the same one? No
Yeah, Matt
surprise
Nava.
there. But it's just so convincing, and the way they move, the way they animate, it's fascinating. And it's like, it's a bit educational, but not in a boring sense. It's like you find a new fish that you've never known. Everything from Finding Nemo. I was like, look at that. I don't know what that fish is, but I know it's in Finding Nemo. But now I know the name of it, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's not...
We're gonna
reach
edit
pinnacle
over and say
Journey, but it's
Dory
good.
just to keep us current.
I really enjoyed it, though.
One of the big pulls of Journey was that very light multiplayer element where you encounter another player and you don't really do anything with them. The only interaction you have is the interaction you have with the environment anyway, and you either accompany them through the level or you don't, and you part ways and they disappear out of your synced instance, I suppose. Does Abzu have anything like that, or is it solely single player?
No, it's strictly single player. I think with Journey, just a surprise. I mean, you always see games where it's like, would you like to enable the multiplayer, thingy, or it wasn't multiplayer, the online aspect of this game.
Yeah.
You should be like, yeah, whatever. I don't even know what that is. Is it going to share it to my Twitter or Facebook? You're just like, whatever. And then to know that it was another person there, it's fascinating. I think once that's been done, you can't do it again. Because people will know that, especially for a game that is so related to Journey, whether that's fair or not, you can't do that again, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just... I remember I was on the second level, and just I saw in the distance another character, and I think it happened on the first level where you saw it in the distance. You saw another character, but it wasn't a player.
It was
It's
just a
scripted.
hint at it?
Yeah, it's a scripted element. Whereas on the second level, I thought, oh, okay, that's and suddenly they start coming towards me. What? Okay, what's this? And then they start interacting with you in Journey. You jump up and you make a little note, don't you, to unlock things and do stuff. And suddenly this person was jumping around me doing this thing.
Yeah.
And like, okay, this definitely isn't the game.
Yeah.
Right, this is this multiplayer type online aspect that was being spoken about. But it was just such a sense of surprise and delight almost when it happened the first time.
And there was such a brilliant move of theirs to just limit what you can do, so that it takes a little bit of time to figure out that this is a person, but also you can't be like, you just can't communicate in the standard ways. Yeah. I think, you can't recreate that wonder, etc. But I do think that it's a shame that games haven't sort of continued along that vein of limited interaction multiplayer, where you're not sort of reliant on the person and you can't talk to them, but they can come in and out of your world. Like the next innovative thing was something like Dark Souls, where you had sort of
an invader.
Yeah, or even just like the like spots where a bunch of people have died or whatever. Like,
and you can see their ghosts almost. And what they did.
And I thought that was really unique, but it just seems like we've moved away. I mean, this was 2012 in Journey, right? And we haven't sort of figured out what that mechanic could be. It just sort of was in Journey. Now it's not anywhere else. Yeah, but it's.
I do agree with you. It's a bit disappointing. They could have integrated that in Abzu, but the thing with
I don't even Abzu. I mean,
I'm glad
in general.
something. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It hasn't been done since 2012, and that's surprising. Something that would shock you and to that extent. But the thing with Abzu is that, whereas in Journey, because I only met one player along my playthrough in Journey, and the thing is that I wanted to be with them because they weren't a troll or anything. It's like I wanted to be with them for my whole journey until the end, and so I was spurred to, I'm not going to get these collectibles, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to go straight through, I'm going to follow them. If they say, oh, get this collectible, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to wait for them, they're going to wait for me. Whereas in Abzu, there are these points where you can just sit down and what they call meditate by touching the PS4 touchpad, and you just sit there, and you're just looking at these fish. You're looking at the name of the fish, the name of the species, comes at the bottom of the screen. And because people say it's like 90 minutes or 60 minutes, it took me about 4 or 5 hours to complete Abzu.
Wow.
Just purely because of the fact that I was just sitting there, watching the fish go by, looking at all the species, etc. If I was there with another player, I couldn't have done that. So
no, completely.
In a way, I'm glad that it didn't have that sort of multiplayer aspect in it. And that's why I'm just judging it on like its own merits, and people are comparing it to Journey, which is, I understand, but it's a bit unfair.
I completely agree. But it's sort of the easiest comparison to sort of jump to, isn't it, when it comes from similar creator,
especially when it looks similar in style. That's a big one.
I'd compare it to Flower more than anything else.
Yeah,
not Journey. Yeah.
Also by that game company.
Yeah, but I'd definitely compare it to Flower. I wouldn't compare it to Journey at all. But, yeah.
Although you did pinpoint one of the few complaints I've heard about Journey was people who picked it up randomly, like bought the PS3 version at some point after the first initial push, and then had a less interactive time than you did, where there was no one.
Yeah,
and then you're like, given that so much of the hype was about this cool multiplayer facet, not experiencing it at all made people sort of sour.
Yeah. That's why it's a bit, as I said, lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
You have to play it within a certain time frame. I'm lucky because it's been on PS4, I'm sure, over a year now, but I still managed to find another player. So
that's really heartening, because by the time I got a PS4, I thought about replaying Journey on and getting the remaster, but I was like, I bought this middle of nowhere time as far as release schedules and stuff.
Yeah.
I seem to remember that, I'm not sure if it still is now or whether it was just for the initial release, but Journey on PS4 was free if you already had purchased it for PS3.
Yeah. Oh,
which may still be the case. So if you're listening and you picked up Journey on PS3, you might have a free download on your PS4.
Nice.
Maybe to run through it again. Whether, as you say, we're now a long time past the re-release of it on PS4. Whether there's anybody playing it.
You know what I found out actually? Speaking of random free stuff, I got Destiny. For the Xbox One back in Canada, and I got the one with all the correct...
The Taken King?
The Taken King, yeah, because I got a steal of a deal at EB Games. Shout out to them for no real reason.
For existing.
Yeah, I guess. And so I had... They sell it where it's like the 2 expansions before the Taken King. The Taken King are all codes, and then the disc is the base game.
Right.
And then I recently ordered an Xbox One because there was a steal of the deal in the UK Microsoft Store where you can get the Rainbow Six Siege bundle for 250 quid, and that plus Halo 5 plus Forza 6, and the bundle includes Rainbow Six Siege Season Pass, Rainbow Six Vegas, Rainbow Six Vegas 2 for the Xbox.
Like £250 or something.
Yeah, 250 quid,
that's absurd.
And I was like, okay, I'll do that. I don't know when I'm going to collect it. Also, the key is I found someone who, when they move out of their parents' place, which should be in a few months, they want to get a games console, and they were thinking about Xbox One. In the same city, my Xbox One is in storage.
Yeah.
So I kind of pre-sold.
Nice.
So I didn't feel too crazy about
They're going to be like,
another one.
nah, I want a PS4. Or an NX. They're going to be like, nah.
Or an Xbox Ones is what I'm calling the 1S. Ones. But anyway, I found out that at some point, Destiny base game is a free download. Because I was like, oh crap, now I have all the things, but I don't have the disc because it's in Canada, so I can't play the game unless I buy the disc of the game, which you can't just buy by itself, so I'll burn codes. It's like, oh no, it turns out they've just given that away at some point.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Anyway, aside on random
free game for you.
Yeah. Well, no, free for everyone. The base game is free for everyone.
How many people are playing the base game still? Has everybody moved on?
No idea. That's what it says on the Xbox Store. Yeah, but I mean, Destiny's levels 1 to 4 or whatever it is. No?
I wouldn't even download that for free, no. I played the beta and I was like, what is this?
It's
I'm
almost...
sure it's been improved, but...
Yeah, but it's almost the same as like Blizzard allowing you to play the first 20 levels of World of Warcraft, isn't it?
Well,
for free, and then suddenly going, okay, if you'd like to experience the rest of the game.
What I did like was the move when Taken King came out, where they're just not quite right when it came out, but shortly after, they were just like basically giving an item that would level you up to the point where you could start in the Taken King right off the bat.
Okay.
Yeah, because I played a few levels, and then I found out this, and I was like, okay, I'll just check my mail. I'm like, oh, now this guy is 25 levels more. Or oh, this makes a lot more sense because
that's is that optional?
Feature.
Or does
it's an item that you get in the mail, I think, so you can choose to continue leveling, or you can use the item and it takes you to level 25, I think.
Because I assume you'd need higher level for like the raids and stuff like that, would you?
Yeah, well, also it's still a multiplayer game, so you could do all of the first 20-odd levels by yourself, but that's not really the point.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Abzu, you thoroughly enjoy and recommend?
Yeah, definitely recommend. Just know what you're going into, but if you enjoyed something like Journey, The Irony, or Flower or something like that, then definitely pick it up.
Nice. It kind of leads us into our topic.
Well, it gives us to talk about...
Well, yes, I was going to say, if only because you yourself, Lucy, have compared the two games very slightly when you wrote your review for Abzu. And that is...
Yeah.
Talking about...
That's what I wanted to bring up, yeah.
Talking about No Man's Sky, but not just No Man's Sky. Talking about, as Aadil has now coined the phrase, nonsense people. People who react in an absurd way to everything.
Otherwise known as gamers on the internet. Except, of course, loyal fans of Tanked Up.
Of course, if we ever put a foot wrong and anybody comes out against us, we expect our people to rally.
When I say gamers on the internet, it's the quote unquote gamers, which is the sort of personaed gamers when people say, "Oh, gamers are up in arms about blah." It's the gamers that what's his name, Burns from Video Gamer.
Steve Burns, yeah.
Said they should all die.
Yeah, he tweeted gamers should all die or something similar to that, and then just got some. I had to stop reading the stream of tweets as a reply to him, but
the thing is,
I almost
the
wanted to
people
just
probably
say
replied,
I completely agree. How can I help?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he was saying it in terms of people being up in arms about a delay in Final Fantasy 15. Our segue was about the nonsense people had with the delays of No Man's Sky and then what they got. But in the end, it's just nonsense people being up in arms for
no reason.
Being
the people who probably replied to him are probably the ones he wants to die. And they're just fueling that argument. So.
Well, also, it was very clear that he didn't actually
want them to
die, but the replies seemed to think, like, they acted as if this was a serious thing. Like, that he was, like, seriously saying, your people are terrible. Like, then even the sort of less angry ones were like, well, then how would you have a job? And it's like, the point is over here. You are not near it.
No. We'll continue talking about this in a moment. I'm gonna open our third beer.
Oh, excellent. I'm gonna finish our second beer.
Are you beer ready, Lucy? Or are you still going on?
I'm always beer ready.
Excellent.
I'm always beer ready.
What do we got here?
I have opened a Chimay. It's the brewer. It's a Trappist beer. It's a blue label. I'm not sure what the actual name of the beer is. I know normally the standard Chimay is a red and gold label, and this one's a blue and gold. I'm not sure what the difference is, but I believe this is about 9%.
Oh, so it's a triple.
So it's a triple. Whether the blue label just indicates that it is a triple. It's all in Belgian, or French, or German. I'm not really sure. I haven't read the back. Is it in French? And German.
and Italian. And Espanol.
Just not English.
No.
Oh, no, it is English.
The Trappist logo certifies that this ale is brewed in a Trappist abbey and that the majority of sales income is intended for social aid.
Excellent.
Chimay Blue expresses the full power and complexity of a well-balanced Trappist ale. Ingredients, yada yada. Yeah, it doesn't actually say. Although it's interesting that it just said most of the profits. Because not too long ago, I remember reading Trappist ale descriptors where they're like, they can only make enough, like they can only make it in the abbey and they can only put the money towards the abbey. And now it's like, most of it, whatever most means.
Yeah.
I thought it just all went back into the community as far as I knew. I thought they were just completely non-profit, but who knows?
Yeah. It sort of, in the ever-increasing corporate world that we are in, he says, kind of like a conspiracy theorist.
Recording on the MacBook Air and...
Yeah. Well, also, it's like, well, technically it could all be made in the Abbey. You know, here's the Abbey, and then here is the giant warehouse that's on the Abbey grounds.
Yes, within the estate of...
And these are all our young Asian monks.
I mean, we're going to compare this probably to the Roquefort. The 8?
The 8 would be the triple.
Yeah, 8 would be the triple.
Which will be a tough comparison because it is one of my favourite beers.
And I've been drinking it a lot lately. The bottle shop that's just opened up down the road stocks it. So every time I've gone into the bottle shop, I think it's about $3.60 for a bottle. But every time I've gone into the bottle shop and gone, I'll pick these. You know, the couple of beers that we're drinking today have come from the bottle shop, and I thought I'll just pick that one up as well. Just have that one.
So good. So the bottle shop around the corner from my place when I lived in Amsterdam, I could regularly get it for under €3.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which
That's
was
import
problematic.
Tax. That's import tax.
Yeah, it's also Belgium and Amsterdam are very close.
Yes,
transportation costs are basically negligible.
So, I mean, this smells like a Trappist beer.
Yeah, although it's actually kind of lighter. I'm surprised the strength of the nose is quite. It's understated. Like the nose itself is very Trappist, but it's not as strong as
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's not got that hit that the Roquefort 8 does.
I mean, it's still that malty, sweet goodness.
I suppose a comparison to a standard beer that a lot of people may have been able to try is Lef.
Leffe, yeah.
Because you can get that almost everywhere. But sort of the blonde, which is the standard that they do, is a lot lighter than this. These, the Roquefort 8 and this, are a lot heavier. But normally with that, you get a lot more flavour.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's a similar smell. But yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It kind of does smell like a Lef.
Yeah. What's your beer, Lucy? Before we start sipping,
mine is Baltic Frontier from Tuol, who I absolutely adore. The guys who actually trained for like Mikula back in the day. But this is, well, I'll read it to you. This puppy is an IPA beaten with juniper berries and Seabuckthorn and trashed with hops. A celebration of a potent beer culture shared between Scandinavia and the Baltic region. Cloudy, it's, I'd say that's deep gold in colour. The smell, instantly, as soon as I poured the bowl, it just had this really funky smell. Like, in the nicest way, if you, like, had a compost full of, like, fruit. Like, just all the skins are, like, banana and...
like
fruit and everything.
Yeah, slightly fermented sweetness.
Yeah, it's calmed down a bit, and I'm getting a very orange zest smell. It's quite tart, probably from like the berries and all the berries in it, but it's nice. It's probably a bit too sour for my tasting, but you know, it's tall. They make such good beers.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely incredible. But yeah, it's quite light, not as hoppy as I'd like for an IPA. But yeah, it's refreshing. It's nice.
Good.
Excellent.
I'd say it's probably... I think I prefer the Cloudwater of today, but it's a very nice beer.
Good.
You know.
Nice. So, nonsense people.
You don't want to talk about the taste of this beer?
No.
Okay, we'll talk about it afterwards. So what do we mean? Well, yes, so we briefly covered it, but so we're well aware of people being up in arms about the 2 delays of No Man's Sky. And I think we talked about how that's quite ridiculous because a delay for polishing literally means they are trying to make it a better game so that you don't have to deal with it unrefined, crappy experience. With FF15, they've delayed it from end of September
to November, I think. Yeah.
And it's the same sort of outcry.
Well, I think I'm pretty sure the developer came out and almost directly said that they're doing it so they do not have to have a day one patch.
Oh,
everything is going to be included on the gold disc.
Oh, interesting.
So,
I didn't hear that.
Which is refreshing, given what's going on.
Exactly.
I mean, so a couple of things. With No Man's Sky, they got the delay and the giant patch, which I think. Why don't we deal with FF first because it's a smaller story, and we both act. Shit. Well, it was bound to happen, and it had to be the tasty beer.
So on Tanked Up, both Alex and Aadil have spilt beers. I'm yet to do so. Lucy is yet to do so.
Having said that, I've missed the laptop entirely.
That's true. Alex did get it all over the laptop. We'll take a short recess whilst I get some kitchen right.
I can get it. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
Right.
Oh, fuck. FF15. You were saying that something.
Yeah, what were we saying before the incident?
Now I want to cut it all out, so it just like cuts off and says the incident. Mostly because then people wouldn't know how clumsy I am. So with FF15,
Day one patches
they were...
and stuff.
Go on?
Day one patches and people being pissy at delays.
Yes.
That's all I know.
Yeah, that general area. So with FF15, they're planning on not having a day one patch.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I've read. Yeah,
and then I was saying how No Man's Sky had both.
Yes.
which people didn't actually complain as much about, although you managed, Ben, to experience both sides of the patch because you got an early delivery.
I got an early copy. And I only played a couple of hours pre-release or pre-patch as well. And they changed a few things, the way the mining laser worked and a couple of other sort of light
How did the mining
elements.
laser work before? It's just a simple mechanic.
So the mining laser now, you fire it and it builds up and up and up and up, and once you hit that top bar, it churns. It doesn't overheat. It churns through material quicker, doesn't it? Yeah.
Wait, which mining laser?
The mining laser. The mining laser you have as a character, as a person. Right. When you're using your mining laser, you fire it, and it gets to the end of the bar, and it stays at the end, and it churns through the consumable that you have to load into it quicker whilst you're mining. Whereas pre-day one patch, it overheated.
I feel like mine overheated. I have the PC version.
That hasn't been patched, has it?
Apparently not.
I didn't think it had been.
So
this is ridiculous. The PC version came out like a week later.
Yeah, because someone I know who played the PC version, he said that it hasn't been patched.
Yeah, because it overheats. That's why I was like, what do you mean?
Right, okay. Let's not turn into nonsense people.
Okay, no, that's different, right? Because you're purportedly you had the day one patch because this is the game you want, this is the changes you want, and the gold disc didn't have it. You then had several days before the release on another platform. I'm actually okay with that not being the case, but there was no sort of indication that this experience is different from what we intended and / have released on another platform.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm weirded out by. I had no conception of this. I assumed what I've been playing is what you started playing post-patch.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Weird. But it actually sounds like I've been playing pre-patch.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah. I don't think, from my knowledge, I don't think it's been patched on PC, which...
Well, okay.
Well...
I mean, to be fair, the PC release has been less than steady.
Ideal. Yeah.
Which has also had a lot of vitriol thrown in its way.
Which, of all the things to get mad at them about, it's the most reasonable.
Yeah.
Mostly because people who had minimum or well beyond minimum spec machines could not run it.
Yeah.
And it seems like they initially said it was because of OpenGL 4.5 being a requisite, which their minimum spec graphics cards did not have. But also, it turns out that wasn't the only thing. That was just sort of... It seemed like conspiracy theorists have said that was a placeholder for blame because, let's face it, the average person has no idea how to check what their OpenGL version is. I'm not your average person. I'm a bit of a PC nerd.
Tech enthusiast.
Yeah, and I didn't know how to check it easily, short of hoping that Google would tell me. Turns out you can download an OpenGL tool, etc.
Yeah.
But it's also built into the graphics card and its drivers. Mostly the card, though, so it's not like you can hope that Intel betrays the computer. I was trying to use it before I put an external GPU in. You just can't get, like, a driver won't suddenly take you from 4.4 to 4.5 OpenGL.
No.
It's a very much a sort of architecture-bound thing. Although people apparently on 4.4 with 90% 4.5 coverage, so you can do tests, and there's like 11 on OpenGL test. Sorry, I don't even know if the podcast caught the loud ding noise, but there's 11 sort of tests that it does, and your graphics card might be able to do 10 of those things or 9 of those things. But if it doesn't do all 11, it's an OpenGL 4.4. So there are this gray area mid-range cards which can actually run it fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though they don't have this requirement. Anyway, I'm totally thrown off by both my exuberant smashing of a beer, and by that I mean knocking over slightly and then pouring on Ben's leg, and this notion that I'm not even playing the same game. But Nomansky, what are your thoughts?
Noam Chomsky.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, yeah, I've been playing it a while. I'm enjoying it, and I just don't get how it's been so... People keep blaming that it's been so hyped. It's like, oh, we've heard about this game so much, we've been waiting for it for so long, and now it's not what we thought it would be. It hasn't released in the way that we thought it was going to. We've had to do this extra... Where? Just fuck off, mate. Just enjoy it. Just if you want to play the game, just play the game. The developers don't need to hear your irate ramblings.
Well,
like the listener is now hearing my irate ramblings about that.
Oh, but this is meta level.
This is meta rating. No.
So, I think the big thing is if you look at what they've put out in their trailers, what they've talked about. With the exception of a few quotes from over 2 years ago, it might be sooner. Please don't get mad at me if I'm wrong.
How dare you?
Yeah, that there would be a stronger multiplayer aspect.
Yep.
Which right now we only have except for that one YouTube video Twitch stream of two guys purportedly at the same time being on the same planet, which had a different day-night cycle and were ostensibly not. Were on the same spot at the same time and couldn't see each other. I'm not saying ostensibly and purportedly because I think it's false. I'm just saying that's all we know.
So,
besides that, no one else has had the opportunity to be on the same planet. But also, it was never, ever, ever a strong point of this game that you'd be on the same planet day one. And I say that because given that they clearly were under the gun, I wouldn't be surprised if they cut direct multiplayer instancing in the favor of just getting it out.
They should.
They should. Because it's such a rare idea. And I wouldn't be surprised if... Actually, I think someone said in future patch notes, they said there would be more of a multiplayer aspect.
Well, it's strange because I can confirm that I am able to pause the game. And I don't mean just going into a menu and
hitting escape and hoping you don't get shot.
And yeah, I am talking... If you, I'm playing on PS4, if you hit the options button, which takes you to the cataloguing screen, where you can upload everything you've discovered, I did it whilst a creature was moving in front of me, and I went into the cataloguing screen, uploaded some stuff, and actually went away for a couple of minutes, came back to the game, came out of the cataloguing screen, and that creature was in the same place and then went about the movement that it had started when I hit that button. That suggests to me that has been paused. That creature wasn't moving, that whatever was happening on that planet had stopped, which suggests that it's an instance to me, which suggests highly that there is no multiplayer unless they start
joining
instances as such, which... on a game of this scale, must be so difficult to do, especially when it's because it's
that'd be a revelation in gaming.
But it would, because it's procedurally generated, and it's procedurally generated as you enter the system. If two people entered the system at the same time,
is that how it's procedurally generated?
I believe so,
because that's something I've been very, very lightly looking into. Because is it the case that there are systems that are sort of because the galaxy we all share, because we all share labeling schema. There's a labeling schema, and the whole point of the game is the multiplayer aim is that the schema is shared. That's it. That's the biggest thing they've said, is that if you go to a place that's pre-labeled, you will see those labels.
That person has been there.
That is what they've said since day one.
Call that monster a Cockwombler or something absurd.
But I mean, so the fact that you happen to be in the same system and it's not the case that you can see a person sucks, but isn't what the point of multiplayer has been advertised. But my question is it the case that they just procedurally generated... Like, is it the case that you go there, it procedurally generates the system, and then that's somehow locked in on their server-side thing? Yeah, or is it the case that they just procedurally generated a giant system, and that's ongoing, and that's fine?
So either you arrive and it generates, or they press the button on day one and everything generated.
And it's continuously generating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Given that it's shared, presumably at some point, even if it's procedurally generated client side or client access side, at some point it has to lock it in and send that to the server, because otherwise the Cockwombler will look differently.
Yes, it would be cool.
And then it doesn't look like a Cockwombler.
I don't know anything about maths, but maybe there's some sort of equation or something like that where it's like, I labelled this the Cockwombler, and it's got these sort of aspects to it that certain creature's got, I don't know, dinosaur legs and dinosaur, a dinosaur head.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like it fixes some variables, but then when someone else goes to the system, it generates the things that are fixed, but the rest is generated on demand. That would make sense.
It's not exact. So it's maybe not the exact species, but I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it.
Well, the species would be the easy part. It would be it would be things like generating the terrain, where it might be the case that you go to the system and it fixes
but that's
the
thing,
type
maybe
of terrain,
the
but you're going to have
can be on 2 planets.
Yeah,
it could be on more than 1 planet, which would.
But it would be a different. Easier. It would be a different. It might have the same physical looking. Physical, but it would be labeled
on
something else.
But how many? I was going to say, if we've got 18 quintillion systems, 18 quintillion star systems to explore, how many
repeated animals?
How many repeated animals are you going to start to find? How many combinations of things can exist?
I wouldn't think it's as many as people would have thought.
Well,
because you can't draw that many assets. Simple as.
And
you can squish them all together, but you've only drawn.
If you've drawn, exactly. If you've drawn 1,000 assets and for legs, that's a lot. If you've drawn, right, a more manageable chunk. If you've drawn 100 assets for legs, 100 assets for a torso, and 100 assets for a head,
you're still going to have a bunch of repeats.
You're going to,
Well, and that's what
what's that? 300,000 different combinations or something like that.
I was never. Well, actually, learning perms and coms in high school I was good at. Since then, no. I don't know if you guys call that permutation combination.
Yeah.
Now, the Video Gamer UK review, basically, I can't remember who said it, but one of them peoples, he says with a dismissive wave as if they weren't the premier in UK video gaming. Anyway, they said similar things that, like, after after even a handful of planets, they started to see sort of a repetition of assets.
That was the reviewer Jim Trinker. Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, I should have known. Yeah. And so, but I'm okay with that so far. But that does suggest that the number of assets today is very low. It also seems like my suspicion is that they were hoping more people would be exploring as much as possible before moving on, such that they could maybe sneak more shit in.
Yeah.
Like the multiplayer, like maybe over time adding more assets, because it's combinatorial, so every extra leg asset has a large chunk of new animals that would come out of that. But
that's the thing. Like, even if you have, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 different things, and as you're saying, Ben, they probably drew hundreds. That's an exponential amount of combinations, but even so, as you say, like, you would still see the same thing
eventually,
over and over again, even if the, like, sort of layers of the animal are all different and randomized. You'd be like, oh, I've still seen that sort of tail before, even if it's a completely new
animal, and it does sort of happen on the planet itself as well, because you will go there and there'll be something like 12 different animals that you can find on the planet, but actually 10, maybe not 10, but 5 or 6 of them actually share the same body structure. The torso, and they've got different appendages or a different head, or some have fins, some have wings. They have some slight different variation of them, which kind of makes sense, because it would almost suggest that this animal dominated evolutionary and then
had some splits.
And has adapted in various different ways, which kind of doesn't make sense, because the terrain on the planet doesn't change, so there's no mini ecosystems on each of the planets.
I think that's...
So you don't adapt to, the one at the pole is no different to the one at the equator. However, in a game of this scale...
Well, and games in general just don't have that nuance right now anyway. Forgetting about scale, we just don't have...
Yes, but it kind of brings me on to the point that that's kind of, oddly, even though not stated, what people expected.
Yeah, and I think that's been the downfall of the game. Not obviously not commercially, but critically. I mean, Aadil, you said that, or was it you, Ben? You said that this game has been hyped up.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't think it has been. And, like, as I've been watching the game progress over the last 3-4 years or whatever it's been, I'm just like, this game is not what everyone's going to think it is, what people had. People thought that from the outset it's going to be amazing. It's going to be something revolutionary. It's going to be something they've never ever played before. And I think it was you, Aadil, who said, why, or was it you, Ben? Sorry, I can't remember, but it's like, why do people think that?
Well, or moreover, it's fine having that opinion, but why are you angry that when you filled in the blanks, you filled them not correctly, and because of that, it's someone else's fault?
Exactly, because I think Sean Murray's gone on record, like, he's actually been a bit coy about it. He's like,
very.
He's in all these interviews he's had, he's like, everyone's like, oh, you're the next Jesus or something like that. And he's like, no. And I think he's been under the wraps of, I'm just saying what I see. This probably isn't true. I just think he's been under the control, not in a mean way, but of like the Sony reps. They've had a lot riding on this game. And whoever's, marketing this game and all the PR people, they're probably saying, don't tell everyone it's going to be an indie game, which is essentially what it is.
Yeah.
They're probably saying, we've put a lot of money into this game.
This is a big release.
Let people get carried away. And it's worked. They're all the better for it. They've sold, I don't even know how many copies at this point.
The second best-selling game on PlayStation 4.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Why would anyone...
I'm not sure.
Stop
Why
that.
would anyone say, I'm just selling you water when I said it was wine and you think it's wine? Why am I going to tell you it's water if you're going to pay me the premium cost of a wine? Why would I ever do that?
It happens in advertising all the time across all...
Yeah. And people, in the nicest way, they fell for it.
Well, I think part of it was that to play Satan's solicitor, I like alliteration.
That's
more.
nice.
It's been very vaguely put since day one, even before Sony picked them up for whatever dubious thing they did added to things, because it still sounds like the team is small, except for advertising.
It's like 15
I'm not
people.
Sure, but
I think they started off as about 3, 4, maybe 5 people, and then they're now about 12, I think. So.
Yeah, because they had it working when Joe Danger 2 or something was still in development when it was launching, and they moved people over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they haven't been very clear about what it is. So, to that, I will say that when you consistently put out an ambiguous message, you can't be entirely faultless when people sort of say, this is what I thought you meant by ambiguity. But notice how I say, this is what I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what I thought.
Batman-esque type thing. Then that's sort of, I suppose, my concluding point. Do not put an expectation on something and overblow it. Try and rein in your expectation very slightly, because you can get so carried away, and someone can say, oh, this is a mechanic that's going to happen all of the time in the game, and you go, well, I should be able to do this constantly all of the time, but I can't, and I will slam my fist down on everything. just chill out. Like, just
putting anything on a pedestal that you've created
but
out of your
is,
own mental hype is never a good thing. And this means
but I think
people, relationships, games...
There's still an onus on, like, the publisher, Sony, to temper those expectations, because they never once said, this 18 quintillion planets, I know nowadays people think more means better. There's 50 hours in this RPG, it must be better than this 30-hour RPG, which isn't the case, obviously, but...
Well, grinding is fun.
I don't know. I think the publisher had a bit of responsibility just to pare those expectations back, and I think Hello Games, they probably tried to do that, even in like preview cycles. I mean, I realised it. I was like, this actually reminded me of this game called The the Solus project, which was out on early access. You know it on PC and Xbox One. It's sort of got like, you know, you're landing on this planet. It's only one planet, fair enough, but you've got these survival elements to it. And I was like, it got average reviews, and I was like, this looks exactly like No Man's Sky. And I knew, I mean, I feel sorry for anyone who pre-ordered it on the basis that they thought it was going to be the next big thing. This is why you don't pre-order games, by the way. But
you got a special ship that you outgrew by your second planet.
Wow.
Great.
I was really disappointed in that. I got this fancy ship. It didn't seem remarkably different. And then by the second system, which I sort of went to almost directly after the first planet, I met a guy who had a better ship and I had the money to buy it. And I was like, okay, well, this pre-order was completely useless.
Yeah.
I mean...
And that's the thing. They're asking for £60 for a game that could have done with a lot more cooking. I mean, even the multiplayer aspect of it, we're not actually sure what's going on with that. But...
Yeah, I think...
You know, it sounds like they want to implement these things. I'm not sure if that's a good idea, because it seems like you have to implement a whole new system because people, if they get multiplayer, if they can see each other, they're going to be like, why can't I trade iron with them? Why can't I shoot them? Or why can't I do this?
Why can't it just be like Journey?
Yeah.
It's like transparency goes a lot nowadays. It goes a long way nowadays. If they were just transparent about it, it's not ready. I think Sony obviously applied the pressure to get it out after another delay. If they just said, "Look, it's not ready."
Well, except transparency hasn't worked well in Square's favor, because it seems like in the opposite way.
People give them crap for it, but it might be a decent game at the end, and it might be. That's the thing. It's
so the point is, though,
I know reviews don't mean everything, but when you have a game and it doesn't always, it doesn't meet people's expectations, whether they're exponentially high or not. If it doesn't meet expectations, people will be wary about the sequel. There's going to be a No Man's Sky 2 in 3 years, so. And people might not be as ready to pre-order.
Well, maybe they shouldn't be then. Have you been to every quintillion planets? No, it's still there. So I will say this, that there is a segment of the internet, specifically of gamers on the internet, who will never be pleased. And I think the fact that Square has come out and said, we don't want a day one patch, we want to finish our polish, sorry. Having said that, again, the publisher probably should have been more upfront, because I think they had their recent event. They had a semi-recent event where they bragged about how it was coming out in September in the past couple months.
Yeah.
They should have.
Hasn't it been in development for like 10 years?
Yeah,
as well?
and they definitely knew it wasn't going to be the case. That it would probably be delayed, and they didn't say that because, of course, marketing and that event was probably on the books for 6 months to 18 months, somewhere within those. So they can't say, oh yeah, we're going to celebrate it coming out in September. Oh, it's actually delayed. Also, now let's celebrate, because now that I've told you it's going to be delayed. But they just won't be happy. And I think there's a real problem with aiming at these people, and somehow we as a gaming community need to get the message to the publishers and developers that they should worry less, because they will always get yelled at.
Yeah, very much. Yeah,
like the majority of gamers are silent and say, "Oh, it needs work. Why don't I wait 2 months and play my giant backlog?" Because no gamer doesn't have a backlog,
and it'll be cheaper at that point anyway.
Well, it might not be cheap. No, I mean before, like 2 months before it's officially.
Oh,
released.
I see. Okay.
I will wait the 2 months such that the game is more polished. It won't crash on me. It might work on my system, which is becoming more of a problem with PC games. And so,
I mean,
I think
a delay can only be good. It's like, and I'm not saying we're delaying it, we're putting more content in, and we're going to charge you more. It's like, no, we're making a better experience with what is there.
Definitely.
There is a reason we're delaying it, and it's not because we want to screw you. We want all of your monies as soon as possible. So the fact that we're saying we want you to hold on to your money for a while means there's a legitimate good thing for you coming down the pipes. The last thing I'll say is just fucking calm down, people.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was it echoes my concluding point. Just chill out.
Yeah, and there's some people who are like, "Oh, No Man's Sky is terrible, this and that."
Yeah,
like, people enjoy it. Just let them enjoy it.
Exactly.
It's not for you.
Oh yeah, if you say No Man's Sky is good on the internet, then the anti No Man's Sky echo chamber will tell you why you're just a shill for corporate blah and you're just a fanboy. Because these are fanboys who feel slighted, which is so funky.
Yes, it is. Right. we shall finish for a week. We've talked about fanboys and where.
Hey, we didn't even say Wambulance.
No, we didn't say Wambulance.
Wambulance.
Lucy, what's been your favourite beer of the episode?
It's got to be the Cloudwater Sorachi Ace Grissette.
It is.
Started strong.
Despite your sort of hesitation on the lack of strength of the hops.
Yeah, even so, it's a very light, refreshing beer. It's got a nice hoppiness to it. It's nice. The Irish, the White Hag, the Red IPA. Sorry. I was up and down on that throughout drinking it. The Twelve beer, I think people who like tart sour beers will really like that. But yeah, it's got to be the Cloudwater. That's the best.
Nice,
today.
awesome. How about you?
I was just going to ask you.
It's a toss-up between between the Viper and True Kaleidoscope and the Chimay. But I think...
Not the Iron Maiden?
Well, the funny thing is the top label says Iron Maiden, but the main label just says Trooper, so I don't even know what the name of the beer is.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with the Viper and True. It was a very balanced, very nice flavour. Nose and flavour was slightly different, so you're getting different experience in that. The Chimay was good. It was very nice. But in comparison to a couple of other similar beers, it doesn't quite...
I was going to say...
It's not quite on the same level, whereas the Viper and True, this Kaleidoscope Pale Ale is almost its own beer. I've not had anything that's even close or even similar in flavour to it. So
I will be your echo chamber.
Okay.
And say the same thing. I enjoy the Chimay, the bits of it that I had in my mouth, not on my clothes. But in that, I enjoy triples and Trappist beers in general, but it frankly didn't do a lot more than just taste like that. There was no sort of outstanding... I couldn't pick it out of a lineup.
Yeah.
Viper and True, I could easily pick out from a lineup because I have, again, nothing really to compare it to, and I'm still trying to figure out the bits of the taste that I enjoyed but can't figure out. And it was a little weird having such a distinct nose and taste, but they were both enjoyable.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't try, which we should have get in the habit of, which is inhaling as you sip, which is apparently a thing.
All right.
We don't have any more of that beer now, but I think I will track it down and try and find out.
Yeah.
Anyway, I also think my game of the week will be No Man's Ski.
Nice, nice.
I will definitely keep playing it and look forward to the patch.
Yeah,
and that's all that matters. Yeah, you're playing it, you're enjoying it. That is all that
exactly,
matters.
And we'll see how
Screw
it develops.
the internet. Screw the internet.
So, we've been tagged up for another week. If you'd like to get us on the internet and places to contact us, you can go on Twitter at tagged_cast. I'm at Nova_47. Aadil is at the OmniArc. You can also email us taggedupcast@gmail.com if you've got any feedback. We're part of the Outer Lives Network.
You can also
a large network of podcasts and a website, outerlives.net, which has lots of articles and reviews.
Including a wonderful series about being a new dad and a gamer and the trials and tribulations that ensue.
Yes, look out for that one. It comes weekly. Lucy, how can people shout you?
I can't remember if on the last podcast I was with you two on, I had launched my beer site, but I have now.
Yeah.
It's called Beeresistible.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Beeresistible_. Sorry about the underscore, but someone already had Beeresistible.
Wait, it's underscore nothing?
Beer. It's Beeresistible_.
Oh dear.
It might change in the future. I just haven't been creative enough to think of it. But some random woman has Beeresistible, and I think she likes. She retweets Justin Bieber and nothing else. But...
Oh, she doesn't know how to spell Beeresistible?
Yeah.
What about the Beeresistible?
Because Beeresistible is sort of meant to be an adjective, I guess.
Yeah.
Irresistible.
Fair enough.
So it doesn't work as a noun. I don't know, but yeah.
I'm just saying that because the boss Ross hates underscores. I know that Beeresistible.com isn't actually part of the Out of Lives network, but now I just have this anti-underscore nag on me.
Yeah.
Little Ross on my shoulder.
It's a distant cousin of Out of Lives.
What if we wanted to hear your opinions on independent games?
Oh, yes, you can go to indiemarathon.com, and the Twitter for that is probably just Indie Marathons. Can't even remember. But yeah, no underscore there. But yeah, thank you for reminding me.
No
of
worries.
that.
You can also reach me at the Omniarch on all of the things. I have my Vita, so I'm on the PlayStation Network. I now have my Xbox One, so I'm back on the Xbox Network. And I have a laptop, so I'm on Steam. So for the first time in a long time, I'm actually on
Everywhere.
networks.
You're everywhere.
All of the things.
Nice. If you'd like to get me on all of the things, don't.
He doesn't have time.
I have no time.
He's too busy raining and babying.
And babying, definitely. It's all about the babying.
Yeah.
I suppose on that, babying, where we're off for another week. Thanks for joining us. Take it easy.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Well, god damn it. Like, mid-hand wave, I'm like, this is not a good thing. This is not a good thing. I can get you, Mike. I think I missed you.
It's all over my leg.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, you're wearing shorts.
At least they'll smell good.
At least it wasn't the trooper. Wow, that's the entirety of this tasty, tasty beer. Oh, Aadil.
I'm gonna get a cloth for the floor. Fuck! Pour some of mine into yours.
No, it's okay.
No, 100%.
Fair.
Just grab it in there. It's not my carpet.
Look there.
Ooh.